For years, I struggled hardcore with my relationship with God. Always reading the Bible as a series of do's and don'ts, praying for just stuff to randomly happen, hoping that I wasn't bad and I wasn't going to hell. I really wasn't focusing on what was important, a relationship. Now, I had heard that before, right? And I'm sure you've heard it before too. Have a relationship with the Lord. Be filled with joy. And I always stared at people and went, be filled with joy. Have a relationship with God. And it didn't dawn on me until I really started to understand God's humanity in Jesus. Like really truly focusing on the fact that God became human and that he thought like me, felt like me, cried, grieved like me, had joy like me. And as I read through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Gospels, the New Testament, the first 4 books, it really started to dawn on me that this Jesus was like me. Now, there's a couple things going on there, right? Because certainly if I'm Jesus, most of you who I've quarreled with or had a resentment with would be vaporized from the planet. And also everybody would be wearing black and eating chocolate all the time. But that's a whole other story. So definitely not Christ. But human like Jesus, for sure. And in that, I got to Matthew 26. See, Matthew 26 is the Garden of Gethsemane. It's where Jesus was the night before he was killed, crucified. And he brings a few of his disciples, his best friends, to pray with him, to be with him. Because at the time, Jesus really started to understand and get and connect with what was going to happen to his life. He, in fact, goes to the garden and prays, a place where he had been a couple times before. And he gets down on his knees and he says, God, take this from me. I don't want to do this. And as he does, he really starts to understand and realize that that's his prayer, not God the Father's. And then he says, man, I'll do what you want me to do. But yet he turns around and he goes back to his friends, his disciples, the people that he was hanging with at the time, and they're asleep. And he's like, what are you doing? I need you right now. Be with me right now. Don't be sleeping right now. Don't miss this right now. Really imploring them, just like you and I would, to come closer relationally, to be with him in his hour of need, the night before he goes to death. Man, did that hit me. It hit me like God needs us. Human beings, in all our frailty, and all our mistakes, and all our crazy crap that goes on, he kind of turns back to us while we're sleeping, selfishly catching a few Z's. And he's like, yo, don't miss this. Don't miss this. So it's a challenge, to say the least, to be able to look at my life right now in relationship with God and wonder, where do I sleep? And wonder, where do I pick and choose those moments inside of my relationship with him to nod off? And there's a lot of them. I nod off as a husband. I nod off as a father. I definitely nod off as an employee and a boss at work. I nod off a lot. But I can also understand God's face looking back at me with that expression of need and love and understanding. Because that night in the garden, we see a Jesus vulnerable. We see a Jesus transparent. We see a Jesus feeling what is going on around him. And that's our life's work, is to understand that relationship between us and him and feeling it all at the same time. Not just drones that come before Christ and salute him as good young men and women and let's go do the happy Jesus dance. Because that's garbage and we all know that. So I encourage you hardcore, to understand where you might be nodding off with him, to understand that he himself had feelings and emotion and understanding, and read the Bible with that type of aliveness. Read the Bible with the understanding that you are in it. He is you. You are him. It'll make a heck of a lot of difference for the next time you face a trial or the next time you face a triumph, to be able to engage in him that way. Instead of, again, some mythical crown-wearing, bright light shining behind him dude. He was real. just like you and I. Pinch yourself. I'm J.R. Mann. I'm a spiritual director, and I teach your life's work.